myself stranded in a desert in an unknown country, surrounded by nothing but sand. Yeah, okay, so I'm not, because there's the ocean, and I'm in New Zealand, out for a job which is running long, but thanks to that I get to explore a little bit. And today I find myself heading up to the very tip of the northern island at Cape Reinga. And prior to that, I'm exploring some sand dunes. And let me tell you, it is not the best idea to go hiking up sand dunes when it's like 28 degrees Celsius with the sun beating down on you when you already have sunburn. But it's not like I'm going to be here every day, so I'm checking this out and I'm not missing it. Over there's the ocean. I am not hiking that far. All I want to do is kind of get to a slightly higher elevation for a nicer point of view. But see, back behind me a ways is the parking lot where all the tourists, such as myself, come. But the only thing is they go in like to the first sand dune and then they like board down, and that's about the extent of their thing. There's very few people that seem to come out this way. I happen to be the only one right now, which is perfect. One thing that I found really neat is over here where the sand is darker, those are spots where the sand is much harder and there's moisture. The sand is actually cool and moist. It's going to get a little bit windy here. I'm trying to find a kind of path of least resistance. But, like, this in front of me, it's, whoa! Alright, I'm getting sandblasted, literally. But anyway, this in front of me right now is really cool and moist sand. It's actually really nice on my feet. I have no idea how. I don't know enough about this, but it's a pretty neat experience. Wow, that is breezy. Whew. Try to get out of this wind for a moment. I just feel like I just want to keep going and going. As per my usual trails. This is stunning. But this is just beautiful. Wow. An island off in the distance over there. I don't know. Do I keep going over there to get a better view? Or do I turn back? Choices. I still gotta go all the way back to the vehicle, which is like down past two dunes over there. And the sun is definitely not letting go. So, I don't know. I'll think about it. Well, I'm never one to pass up on an adventure. So, I've decided that, because I'm already here. And really, I didn't really have any plans to accomplish anything today, other than go sightseeing. So, I've decided I'm going to go over to the next ridge and see what's behind it, other than obviously up ocean. So, but might be a nice view. It might be worth the walk. So, because I definitely don't spend a lot of time walking on hot sand, I've already got blisters from the heat on a couple of my toes, so that'll be enjoyable later on. I could have put the sandals on, but they kind of drag down in sand, so this is, we're doing this now, so. This is a lot bigger than I anticipated. Yeah, I know, I looked at the map and it looked big, but it's definitely a lot bigger than I thought. So, I don't know if I'm gonna push all the way to that. It's one thing to be going up on a mountain with vegetation when it's cooler. It's another thing to be trekking in sand when it's like 27 degrees or more. And I wasn't really prepared for this kind of a trek, which is fairly common with me when I decide to do spontaneous adventures. So I'm not too surprised by this. But, and wow, when you drop in from into this little valley in between the peaks, man, does it warm up. Where there's no wind. But again, the sand seems to be containing a lot of moisture, which is really impressive. So that is a really cool feature. All right. That over there is called 90 Mile Beach. And you can basically drive it from the very beginning way on down over there, which is kind of where I'm working, in that area, a little bit past this spot here. Especially when the tide is down, you can drive pretty much all of it, as far as I know. And it helps to have a 4x4, obviously. But surprisingly, you can do it in a car sometimes. I'm tried it a little bit in my rental vehicle, but I'm definitely not going to push it because it's the only transportation I have here. So I don't feel like getting it stuck on a beach. About 3 of the things that I said that I wasn't going to do, so there we go. I'm on top of the ridge that I said I wasn't going to go on, but I'm definitely not going on top of that one. I've got a really long way to go back to the car, but this is so worth it. Oh, this is stunning. I took a screen for this. There you go. Sand dunes, northern New Zealand. It's amazing how quickly your footprints disappear out here. If it wasn't for the fact that there's an ocean, if you have no land references, I can see how you can become really easily turned around in the desert. And even if you're just walking in a straight line, not realizing that you're curving, you could end up doing really massive circles without even knowing it. Luckily, over here, I've got no shortage of landmarks to help me out. So, I will not have that problem today. The parking lot is in sight, so I have survived. That was good. Well, there's something I definitely don't get to do ever. Drive on a beach. Especially one this long. So we're gonna do that. Apparently, I can drive up and down this beach from one entrance to another, which is not too long, but we're going to try. The tide is out. There's people out that are fishing. There is like no traffic over here. There was a few people over by the entrance, but nobody else out here. And I am hoping that is only because they didn't feel like driving out here, and not because the sand is bad and I'm gonna get bogged down. So, again, not very planned out on this one. We're gonna try this. There should be another exit coming up not too far away. So, the sand is pretty nicely hard packed. I'm staying away from the water, staying away from the soft sand. So, should be fine. But could possibly never mind. I've got a lot of off-road experience, just not that much in sand and beach. And I'm driving a crappy RAV4 hybrid rental with street tires. So, yeah. There's a few areas where the vehicle kind of is acting weird, but overall it's not bad. Fairly hard pack and decent, so I don't think I've got a long way to go up until I get to the exit, so I'm just going to continue doing this. In the meantime, there's a beautiful, beautiful sunset brewing over there. So, this has been fun. One more thing to be checked off the bucket list, driving on a beach in New Zealand. Alright, not sure if you can see me, probably not, but I'm driving so I'm not turning the light on. Okay, I am tired. I've had a fair bit of work. Actually, hold on. Let's see if I can do one light here. Oh, and there was a bunny rabbit running away from me. Hold on. Ah, there we go. All right. I'm tired. I've had a fair bit of work, lots of driving, and it is 5:20 in the morning. I'm working on my first cup of coffee. I had an apple, and I'm going for a hike. If everything goes well today, it's going to be like 15, 16 kilometers return up a mountain. Not that mountain, because that mountain is very big, but somewhere up in the smaller ones over here. And I was hoping today was going to be a good weather day because I didn't really have any other choices. This is the only day off that I have, and it looks so far beautiful, but we are right on the coast, so anything can change. So let's see what the day brings. Okay, I see nobody's at the trailhead, which is awesome. So that means that I'm gonna have this all to myself, and I'm not surprised because there's a lot of trails heading up these mountains. So I'm gonna be heading up towards, I think, Henry Peak and Maudepeak, which should be up in this area right there, because that is Mount Taranaki, which is a much, much bigger thing. You can actually, I think, see a light up there somewhere. Somebody's probably hiking up there for a sunrise. There's many huts up on these paths, so somebody could have been there for the night. But anyways, I was not planning on being here for a sunrise up on the mountain. I needed some sleep. So, but no sense in delaying this any further because it looks like a beautiful, beautiful day. I've got lots of cloud and fog up on the coastline. That's where the sea is. But up this neck of the woods, I got nothing. So let's hope it stays that way. Let's see what this day brings. You could potentially be gone for a long time. Once I get up top over there, there's a lot of trails I could go try and explore, so this could turn into a very long day. Wish I had more coffee, but whatever. The sun is starting to break through finally, which is a good thing because then I can see where I'm going. So far the last half hour has been a little bit in the dark, and I am getting over to my first fork, just over to some falls I want to go check out. There's a little bird that keeps leading the way here, so we're going to follow the bird. Well, at this time of the year, the falls are somewhat underwhelming. I was hoping for a bit more, but oh well. I'm sure when it's pissing rain, this is a lot more interesting. So that is quite the scramble down, which means that I got to go back up. I'm going to grab a bit of water, cool off, and do that. But there are the falls, sort of. All right, I think I am finally starting to break through the rainforest and getting into something a little bit more open. I'm hoping. So I am almost at the first peak, which is about just over 1,200 meters elevation. And then I'm hoping I don't have to keep bushwhacking. I can make it over to the next one, which I think is like 13 and a half, 14, somewhere around there. So that is my goal for today. Really hoping to break out of this bush, because this is all I've been staring at for the last 2 hours. Finally broke through the bush, but doesn't look like I get exposed alpine too much over here. So looks like it's just this, but this is nice. This will do. So that up there, the second peak, is Mount Taranaki. So not sure exactly where I'm going to go from here. Kind of open. So follow this one up. Likely make it up to that ridge here. See what's on the other side, and then very likely past that there's another ridge that's higher up that I might try out, or I might head over there. I don't know. This is pretty nice. This trail is a bit of a bushwhack, so after doing, I don't know, 6 kilometers of that, I come out to this. Like, really? Yeah. Well, that's a lot easier. Okay. Well, I'm going to go head up this peak. I'm going to go head up that peak over there. And then I don't know. But this is definitely very fancy in comparison to what I just went through. It's actually pretty fancy given the fact that it's on top of a mountain and somebody actually hauled all of these up here. I haven't figured out what these boxes are for. Something to do with wildlife here. But anyways, wow. That is something. there. So the track to the top of maudepeak, at least that's what it's called, is bushwhacking. Very overgrown. You can barely find your footing in some places, but it's a bit of a scramble. But so worth it, because this is phenomenal, and this is an amazing view of this mountain. So down there is the walkway that kind of goes all the way up over to that mountain and goes to over there. So I might trek that. Go for it. My car is at the end of this forest, somewhere down like right about there. So that means to get back to my vehicle, I'm gonna have to go through that entire thing all over again. It would be nice if somebody picked me up at a different spot, but that's not gonna happen. So, all right. Well, this is a very harsh contrast to what I had to climb up on. It's a boardwalk. Ta-da! And it's also way more people-y. Now, down there is a little body of water, and yeah, there's like, I don't know, 20 people over there. No idea when they came up, but I'm guessing this path is a lot easier to walk up on than the one that I went through. So I am gonna go explore it a little bit further. I think this one turns down the mountain and goes down to the car park. And from what I've read, I believe it's mostly like this. So since my car is not parked over there, that's not an option for me. So I am gonna take this over to the next couple of forks, hopefully up a few more peaks, and then backtrack and bushwhack. This is a much easier track to walk. Definitely no bushwhacking. So definitely make a lot faster time on it. There's also a lot more people. So kind of glad I came up the way I did, and we'll have to go back. But this is significantly easier. So I'm gonna try to get up to the top of that one. I'm really hoping the clouds pass. Right now I can't even see Mount Taranaki, but I still got beautiful views everywhere else. So, well, I'm actually welcoming this because it's cooling me off, which is very nice. Temperature dropped massively. I might need to put another layer on, but it's so much more enjoyable now. I don't know if I'm going to get a view from this mountain. So this is supposed to be about 1,400 meters elevation. Once I get up there, hopefully I'll break through this and get some blue sky above it. If not, I'm starting to get a little bit tired. I think I'm going to backtrack because I just tracked and the sun's breaking through. I've got, I think I did about 9.5 kilometers so far. So I'm going to have to do most of that on the way back to get to the car. Things we do for fun. I really hope this clears up and blows away. I am tired. I keep hoping that when I get here, the clouds are going to part. There's a hint of it. hanging out for. But that's just about it, I think. Okay, this was worth the push. Not much of a break in the clouds, just a little bit. Definitely worth it. Well, it doesn't look like I'm getting any better of a view, so I think I'm gonna have to backtrack. And that's it for today. Over there in the distance, and I'll see if I can zoom in on. There you go. Right there is what I think is one of the huts for the hike. There's a little silver one down over here, and that's for the workers that are maintaining the trail. Oh. Alright, I'm off of that thing. And of course, now it's starting to clear up, which is good. So, I'm not looking forward to the return trip. But this is spectacular scenery. So you can pretty much just hang out here for a couple of days and go from hut to hut and across mountains.